Greetings and welcome to part 3 of my top 5 Doctor Who videos, which will be a look at the third Doctor. Without any further ado, let's begin. The third Doctor was played by Jon Pertwee and lasted from 1970 to 1974, lasting from season 7 all the way up to season 11. His character was a suave, confident dandy, as well as being a man of action and technology and gadgets. Despite having many gadgets and having to say a lot of technobabble, the actor Jon Pertwee didn't really like saying all these scientific words, so the writers would just insert in most of his stories, reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, or just simply reverse the polarity. It's because it was the only piece of technobabble he could remember. His stories started off being primarily set on Earth, with the Brigadier and Unit, but the writers realised that they only had 2 genres of stories when they did this: Mad Scientist and Alien Invasion. And if you think about it, it's true. Stick the Doctor on Earth, that's all you're going to have as a story: Mad Scientist or Alien Invasion. So, by season 10, the Doctor's TARDIS was fixed back to travel again in time and space. His era introduced, in my opinion, 2 of the most famous Doctor Who companions: Josephine Grant, otherwise known as Jo, and Sarah Jane Smith. Yes, the Sarah Jane Smith, the one who would return in the new series, and the one who would go on to star in the Sarah Jane Adventures, arguably the best Doctor Who spin-off ever made. Furthermore, the Pertwee era also introduced the Master, played by Roger Delgado, who is still the best Master to this date. Mainly because, for one thing, he doesn't dance around like a pantomime prat. Other notable introductions include the Autons, the Sontarans, and the name Gallifrey being given to the Doctor's home planet, as well as another renegade Time Lord known as Omega, who along with Rassilon is one of the founders of Time Lord Society, with Omega supplying the time travel aspect of the Time Lords. But enough of that, let's begin his favourite stories of mine. Number 5. The Mind of Evil. The story involves the Master using a mind parasite on criminals in Stanmore Prison, which sucks out all of their evil intent and makes them good, law-abiding citizens. And while he's doing this, he plans to steal a nuclear missile using unconditioned prisoners, i.e. bad prisoners, and aim it at a World Peace Conference, which will in turn cause World War III. Once the devastation is over, he'll of course take over the world. Now I place this as one of my favourites due to its dark and grim tone, which if you watch my previous videos you'll know I'm a huge fan of when Doctor Who does this. Also, reconditioning prisoners is a direct homage to A Clockwork Orange, one of my favourite films and books. In fact, the writer Don Horton considered the book to be one of his influences when writing The Mind of Evil. Furthermore, this was also being filmed the same time the Stanley Kubrick adaptation of A Clockwork Orange was being filmed. So yeah, coincidence? I think not. Delgado as the Master in this story, he's just fantastic, as always, and it's only his second story as the Master. He works brilliantly against Jon Pertwee's Doctor, due to him coming across as a real threat, menace and danger, and not just a dancing pantomime prat. In this, he's almost like a mafia boss with many prison thugs to do his bidding. Also, another notable thing is the sound effect for the mind parasite, which is called the Keller machine. It's incredibly eerie, and while the effects are pretty dated, the actors, when they're being conditioned, really sell it. We even see the Master's greatest fear, which, if you haven't seen the story, I'm not going to give away, you should check it out for yourself. Now with action, a grim tone, Unit playing a central role in this, and the Master just being an outright awesome villain, I have to include this in my top 5. Number 4. Spearhead from Space. This story is significant for a number of reasons. It's the first story to feature Jon Pertwee as the Doctor, the first story to feature Caroline John as companion Dr. Liz Shaw, the first story to be made in the 1970s, the first story to feature the Autons, and most importantly, the first story to be made in colour. Up until the show came back in 2005, this was the biggest change in the show's history. But with all that aside, is Spearhead from Space a great story? Yes. Another significant factor, I apologise, there's a lot in this story, is that it was shot entirely on location due to strikes at the BBC studios. The story being shot on film looks incredible even today. The story itself involves meteorites landing on Earth which contain parts of the Nestine consciousness, which is a ruthlessly intelligent, aggressive alien life form that can put life into anything made of plastic, which means shop window dummies. And when they come to life and start killing people at the end of part 4, it's an iconic moment in Doctor Who, even to this day. It's a classic case of taking something ordinary and making it scary, which Doctor Who can do successfully. Shop window dummies, shadows, statues, clocks, what's under your bed. They can just take something so ordinary and make it terrifying. Jon Pertwee in this story also shines. It's his first story, and he more than proved that Doctor Who was here to stay in the 1970s. With a confident script, excellent film work, great pacing, scary moments, and a new assured Doctor, this story can easily make this list. Number 3. Doctor Who and the Silurians. Yeah, the title is one that annoys me here, and if it was me, I'd have called it the Cave Monsters after its novelisation adaptation. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier how the Pertwee era falls into the trap of being a bit samey? Well, this story intended to shake up the formula by having the monsters in this story, the Silurians, seeing mankind, i.e. us, as the invaders. The Silurians are intelligent reptiles that lived on our planet long before we evolved. However, they went into hibernation millions of years ago as they thought a small planet would destroy the surface of the Earth. Now, this never happened. The small planet eventually became the Moon. But now that the Silurians have woken from hibernation, they want their planet back by any means necessary. The story has subtext of racism and immigration, and both sides are tested as their options are kill the invaders or live peacefully. Now, the Doctor in this is opting for peace, but he's at odds with the Brigadier, who wants to wipe out the Silurians. This story has a darker tone, which, as you've guessed, I'm a huge fan of. Great underground lighting, and a fantastic sequence of a Silurian coming onto the surface, and we see its point of view, and we hear its heavy breathing. It's really incredibly eerie. It might look dated now, but back then it was quite extraordinary. I have one criticism of this story. It's that the music is pretty awful. It sounds more camp than threatening. This is an excellent morality tale with complex, intelligent reptiles as the villains and the Doctor being the centre of peace. This is easily one of my favourite Pertwee stories. Number 2. The Demons. This demonic tale, if you'll pardon the pun there, involves the Master posing as a village priest under the name Mr. Magister, which is Latin for Master. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. And he plans to summon a demon named Azal in order to take his power in order to, what else? Conquer the Earth. However, Azal is a member of an alien species called a daemon from the planet Deimos. They've been influencing humanity for decades, and when Azal awakes, he will decide whether his experiment with Earth was a success or a failure. What does a scientist do with a failed experiment? Throw it away, of course. This story is a perfect one to watch on Halloween due to its gothic horror tone. Roger Delgado, as usual, excels in this story as he acts as the friendly priest to the community in the village, and also being incredible in his scenes when he tries to summon Azal. He's just fantastic. Furthermore, Joe Grant and the Unit family really shine in this story. They have a lot to do. In this story, Joe even stands up to Azal when he attempts to kill the Doctor, I mean, her actions would make Rose Tyler look selfish. Oh, wait. With the cast being on top form, an intimidating villain, and a demonic demon, this is a story from the Pertwee era that definitely deserves to be on this list. Number 1. Inferno. This is easily the best Pertwee story due to its grim, apocalyptic tone with superb performances and rising tension. This mad scientist story involves units running security on a drilling project designed to penetrate the Earth's crust and release an untapped source of energy. Now, what's significant about this story is that it's the first Doctor Who serial to explore the concept of parallel universes, i.e. a universe that looks like ours but is extremely different. The Doctor accidentally travels to a parallel universe where the UK is a fascist government, the royal family has been executed, the Doctor's friends are evil, and best of all, the Brigadier wears an eye patch. The parallel universe shows the Doctor the horrible consequences of penetrating the Earth's crust, which results in the Earth blowing up. The Doctor then must escape this world before it blows up and warn our world of what's to come and why they shouldn't penetrate the Earth's crust. Horrible green slime begins to emerge from the pipes, which turns technicians and soldiers into werewolves known as the Primords. And the fact that the Doctor has to leave the parallel Earth to their inevitable destruction is pretty horrific. It's something that the new show wouldn't even do to this day. Now, with excellent direction, great cliffhangers and apocalyptic style, the story is easily the best third Doctor story. Everyone, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what are your favourite Jon Pertwee stories. I shall see you guys next time. Goodbye.